Hey everyone. I just wanted to touch base here at the end of week 3 and say happy Monday, see how you guys' weeks are going. Mine's going pretty well. Today is my wife's and my first anniversary. We've been together almost 4 years, but married a year today. So that's pretty cool. My day's going okay so far. I, uh, I, so apparently you're supposed to give a different kind of material object to your significant other every anniversary for everything, and the first one is apparently paper, something significant from paper. So I wrote her a long letter, in my English majory way, describing my feelings and stuff, and then I folded it into a little origami bee because she's my bee. I'm her bear and she's my bee. So, mi abejita. I hope she likes it. And I also sent flowers to work, and we're going to have some wine and maybe some steaks later on. But anyway, a good day here in Iowa. It's not too chilly outside. It's a beautiful autumnal day, and I hope wherever you're at, your circumstances are equally placid, and that you're not getting too stressed out. We do have a deadline tonight for the assignment, and so I kind of just wanted to go back for a second and move through some of the stuff that we did this week and give you my feedback, at large about how I felt things went. So, discussion posts. Discussion posts are coming along well. I'm seeing good engagement between folks a lot of times. I do want to reiterate that in order to really get that full A for your post, rather than that B in that proficient range, you'll want to meet the length requirement. You'll want to be sure to cite your outside material for anything that you used, any reference to the source material that you've made, any outside material. I've written it here, so it's sort of a mantra of mine as a teacher. If you weren't born knowing it, cite it. That's just how it is in academia and the professional world. I had a discussion with a student not that long ago from our class about this issue, and I thought of an example of a South Korean geneticist who was recently disgraced a few years ago because he had claimed to successfully clone human embryos from stem cells or something along those lines, which would have been a huge medical advance, leaps and leap years beyond where we are at now. And then people began to pick apart his article and what he wrote about it, and it turned out like a lot of the stuff was just sort of baloney and not accurate. And that really drives home that point that no matter where you're at in the ladder of academia or the professional world or any industry, you need to be able to call on respected, credible, logical outside sources that back you up, no matter how high you climb. You could be a PhD, you could be a leading neurosurgeon. You're writing a paper, you need somebody else. You're going to call on somebody so-and-so study, etc. So make sure you're doing that with each of those individual posts, and that are really for those of you who are kind of consistently scoring in the B range. That's what I'm looking for to really see you get up there into the A range. Really that successful utilization of pulling in the outside sources and using APA documentation to do so. In terms of length of responses to your peers, make sure you give your peers some substantive feedback. Don't necessarily just give them a pat on the back or agree. Ask them a probing question. Offer your advice or opinion. Of course, keep it respectful. We can respectfully disagree about some points, but don't put anybody down or be negative. And I haven't seen that, fortunately, in this class. But it sometimes comes up, and sometimes I have to say to an individual student, like, hey, netiquette is key. Be as respectful in this modality as you would be in person. Hopefully, you're respectful people. I'm sure of it. So, but in terms of that length of response, make sure that it's substantial. That you're not just saying, hi, so-and-so, great job, really enjoyed what you had to say, thanks. Give them some feedback. Pick out a specific thing that they wrote about that either spoke to you or you disagreed with or you have further insight on. But that's really the heart of a substantive discussion forum post. So just some tips on how to do that. And be sure to include your APA reference page with an entry for any of those sources that you mentioned in your initial post. So if you want to know how to really pull that up, that's what I'm looking for a top-notch reference post. Okay, so in terms of our assignment that's coming up this week, it's a rough draft of that final personal essay that you're going to write. We're really gearing up towards that. We're working on this material for the next couple of weeks as we finish things up. And, okay, things to remember. Title page with APA formatting. That's a must. Now, I don't want you to get the impression that I'm some sort of APA-obsessed freak who just spends all my time, free time and otherwise, obsessing about formatting details. At the end of the day, what you write substantively counts more than formatting. But you can never underestimate your presentation, right? Which is your formatting. You can make a beautiful, you can make a very tasty meal as a chef, and if you served it up in a plastic 5-gallon bucket with a spork, at what's supposed to be a fancy dinner, people might kind of wonder. And so, by analogy, that's what you're doing with formatting. It's what you write is obviously more important than necessarily how it's presented, but presentation is key. Clothes make the man, as they say. So you can't forget that, and especially just that it's detail work. Open up the example from an APA title page, open up your title page, make yours look like that, and get a hold of me so that I can tell you and help you how to do that. At any step of the way throughout our course, I'm here for you. That's my job. And I like doing it. I want to help each of you grow as writers genuinely and authentically. And so I will work to that end as much as I can. But you got to knock on the door. You got to say, hey, what's up? So, title page. Also include those in-text citations and any references. Now, this is a personal essay, so you may have very little to zero, personal outside sources. It can be a personal narrative essay, so I'm not really sweating that. But if you do start to pull in information about outside events or subjects that you weren't born knowing, you need citations for that. For example, I read a great paper last course about a young woman who wrote about hip-hop and the development of hip-hop and its significance to her life. And so it was sort of part really personal narrative essay about the impact that hip-hop had on her as an individual, but also part sort of history of hip-hop. And so for those areas where she's talking about facts that happened in history, we had to coordinate together to get her on the same page of citing that stuff. So bear that in mind. Caveat scriptor, we say in Latin. Writer beware. All right. Now, in terms of your general structure of this thing, you're going to want to go with that intro paragraph that leads into a hook that grabs your reader and says, okay, here's why you're going to want to read on. This thing changed my life, or never did I realize this significant event could happen to me, or something that grabs your reader. Then you'll develop that throughout the body of your essay using sort of that outline format that we studied a couple of weeks earlier. Those topic sentences into each paragraph acting as an independent idea with a transition sentence to the next idea in the next paragraph. And then finally, a conclusion that harkens back to that thesis and offers a significant final thought. Okay, grammar. Let's move to that. Comma splices. Still an ongoing issue with lots of folks. Perfectly fine. Let's talk about that a little bit. Grammar and comma fragments. So I've written here a couple of examples. Let's see. All right. Look at this comma splice here. That's incorrect. He went downstairs, comma. He immediately regretted it. We've all been there, right? As soon as you get up in the morning, you're like, ugh, God, why did I do this? Why is this incorrect? Well, it's incorrect because, as I talked earlier, above that he, you can see there's an S and then a V above the went. That's your subject and your verb. So every independent thought or slash sentence has a subject and a verb. So because you've got a subject and a verb and he went downstairs, and then another subject and a verb and he immediately regretted it, you've got two different sentences, and you can't link those with just a comma. You need something stronger. So you can do one of three things. He went downstairs, comma, then a conjunction, and he immediately regretted it. But he immediately regretted it, although he immediately regretted it. Any one of those extra words then works together to conjoin these two independent clauses and make it a complete compound sentence. All right, finally, he went downstairs, semicolon. He immediately regretted it. Semicolon. He is the older, stronger brother of the comma, but he's not the full-fledged head of the family like the period. He's somewhere in between. He's the middle child. He connects independent sentences that are closely related. You couldn't write, he went downstairs, semicolon, the Cubs won last night. Woohoo! Because those things don't have anything related to each other, although really the Cubs winning means everything to the world. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. Anyway, so you can use the semicolon to connect related independent clauses. Okay, he went downstairs, period. He immediately regretted it. I hear a truck going by outside. Okay, that's your full stop right there. That's the big daddy. He went downstairs, stop. He immediately regretted it. Now, theoretically, you could just use periods all the time to cut up every sentence and chop it up. But then our language would just sort of sound robotic. He went downstairs, he immediately regretted it, he had to work, he got dressed, he left. So we use punctuation, like commas within sentences and then semicolons, etc., to help provide variation, to help provide nuance. They're the ways that we use that instrument that is our language to, we use it musically to produce rhythm and variance. Because we don't all talk like robots, and we don't all talk alike, and that's marvelous. And one of the things that allows us to do that is our use of punctuation, both within the rhythms of our natural speech, but also, of course, in this context, within academic composition. So, all right, I'm running along here. Last but not least, hit me up. If you've got questions about anything, don't hesitate to email me, call me, text me on that phone number. FaceTime me on the thing. Instagram me. Facebook message, probably not. We should probably keep it to official channels. But we've got plenty of official channels. So yeah, call, email, message, FaceTime me on the thing. I don't care. I'm here to help you. And so to that end, I will work diligently. And I'm here to help. I'm not here to throw you on the bus. I'm on your side. Time, however, is not necessarily on our side. So we must make hay while the sun shines. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great week.